Hey, this is John Reed of JohnERP.com. Now that I'm doing more videos, I feel like I should explain more about what you're seeing behind me. You might be able to see an iron crab on my mantle in this video. That was made by an artisan down in Key West the last time I was there. I'm a big fan of the Florida Keys and marine biology in general. So up here in landlocked Western Mass, I like to have a few souvenirs, so that's one of them. But this video is actually about a different kind of adventure, which is setting up your own website if you're really trying to launch an SAP business of some kind. And what I said in my video for individuals was that you don't always need a website anymore given the options with blog sites and what have you. But I do think if you're a real full-fledged business, you absolutely have to have a website. And along those lines, I think it's important going in to choose the right web infrastructure. And for most SAP businesses, I would probably recommend starting with a strong look at a WordPress blog, but not the free one. Basically, you probably pay a designer or work to customize your own. But basically, a WordPress driven site is very search engine friendly, and it allows you to quickly have a blog identity as well that is easy to add content to. And that's the key, because you want to be able to add content and adjust content quickly and easily, which a lot of web structures don't really provide you a chance to do. So starting with a content management system like WordPress will keep you in the game. If you're a little more advanced in your business, if you have like demo pages and you want to use flashing animation of some kind on certain pages, not your home page, mind you, but perhaps a test drive type of scenario. If you want to gather a database of registered users or sign up for free trials, product trials, then you're getting a little fancier. And fancy can be good if you have a little more of a budget and scope. And then I would strongly suggest looking at either Joomla or Drupal, which are the leading content management systems in the open source world that are well maintained. I think both of those can give you more power than WordPress, but also a little more of a learning curve. But my JohnERP.com site is a Joomla based site, and there's a lot I can do with it, from managing banner advertisements to registered user community and things like that. So I'm a fan of Joomla for more complex websites. So, once you choose your structure, that's important, because then you don't have to backtrack later. I've talked to a lot of clients that once they get set on an old structure, I have one client, their hands are tied by this really old archaic site structure, and they have a really hard time updating content. Their site's not dynamic. They can't add things like comments to articles, no RSS subscriptions. It's kind of a piece of junk, and they're stuck on the junk, because once you build out a site 200, 300 pages, moving it is no small consideration. So make sure you make a good decision about that going in, one that you won't have to move off of very quickly. But the power of a website in a nutshell is that as you start building out content on the site, the best marketing in this day and age is to invest the time and energy into real high quality content that people want to link to. When people start linking to your stuff, that's when you start getting the Google visibility that you want for people to find your website based on their interests. So that means carving out an area of thought leadership. So if you have a product, for example, you might have an e-commerce product. So maybe thought leadership centers around CRM and e-commerce trends, or maybe you have a cloud-based product, so you're going to write a blog about cloud-based innovations in the SAP community. So you move beyond a product to a big idea. Big ideas resonate. That gives you something to blog about. That gives you something to write articles about. The one thing I would advise is don't overestimate blogs too much, because sometimes blogs don't have as much search engine traction as people think. Yes, it's a way better than nothing, but opinions, which are really what blogs are about, get outdated pretty quickly, and a lot of your best traffic is actually going to come from things like published surveys or data that you've organized. How-to articles can be very, very powerful. So the best web structure would involve having a collection of how-to articles in your field that help people to understand some basic instructional things that you want to educate them on, like how to do an SAP upgrade or what have you, or how to install SAP enhancement packs. So have the how-to articles, but also have your blog. In your blog, you can reference the how-to articles, but you can also share more casual news about what's coming up, or maybe your quick take on a news story that's relevant. So the blog becomes a more dynamic structure that interacts with the how-to content. And if you set it up that way, you're going to get links to both, and that's going to be powerful for your business. And as your visibility rises, it also gives you a reason to be on the social networks. So instead of just kind of showing up on social networks and just saying, hey, we're a new third-party SAP firm, or we've got some great consultants who are available, or silly stuff like that that I see on Twitter all the time, doesn't make any sense, it's not interesting. Now you can link back to really good material on your site. Here's a how-to article for, how to get started with Solution Manager, or whatever it is, like you have information, and then here's a blog post, here's our take on SAP support price increase, here's why we think it matters for this particular type of user. And the more focused you can be, the better. A generic SAP blog isn't all that interesting, but an SAP blog on the retail industry, that's pretty interesting. I'm not sure there is a blog like that outside of the stuff that you could see on the community network. Now remember that just because you have your own website, you're still going to participate on other websites. It's a great idea to be commenting on other people's blogs, and maybe you're hanging out in the community network forums on the SAP site. So you're doing other stuff besides your website, but your website becomes your home base, and over time it really has an impact. When you look at my site, johnerp.com, when you type in words like SAP Consulting or SAP Careers, or even other general SAP terms, my site pops up quite a lot now. That took some time. That took like 3 years of late nights sweating away content, producing podcasts, and doing all that stuff. But it pays off, and people link to it, and that creates momentum for your business, because that's how you develop leads. Obviously you can pay for leads through marketing programs or renting email lists, or there's a lot of different things you can do. But inbound marketing, which is the sexy term for people typing your stuff into Google and finding you, or typing search phrases into Google, that can lead to a lot of qualified clients. So anyway, I wish you luck with your website, and hope that this video was instructional for you in terms of how best to use it. If you have any further questions, just contact me. This is John Reed at johnerp.com.